right. So here goes another episode that we're gonna be doing for Lords of the Ring. The episode was it 3, right? I think that was episode 3 that we just seen. So a lot to really talk about on this episode, guys. It's actually gonna be a short one. There's not really much to like go over. It's just one episode that just really went by. But I mean, there was a lot to uncover on this one episode. So we'll just start off from the beginning. So I mean, just starting, it just seemed like it kind of piggybacked right off the last episode with Galadriel and Hellbrand um getting rescued from a mysterious man from the light. Um and after when they were rescued, we kind of discovered like this beautiful pirate ship kind of, themed. And they had like this like Don talked about on the one of the other the previous episode before this, that each tribe pretty much, or each um species or some sort, they have their own crest, like their own symbol on their armor. So that's I think it's like a sun, right? That we seen on them.
Yeah, it's like a sun symbol.
Yeah.
Some with the elves have too. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, yeah, Hellbrand. Yeah, we get this episode really hones in on like his backstory too, a little bit too. We get to know him a little bit more. Like once they get rescued with her as well.
Hmm.
I believe the guy's name is that took him on board upon board is Elendil, Elendil, I believe.
Elendil.
Yeah. Elendil. Yeah, he's a new character, and there's a couple other new characters that they were stumbled across on Pharaoh's as well. He's like seems like the king of this land of some sort.
Oh, Hellbrand, yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
We unfold that like later on. I was just like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
But after getting rescued from Captain what is it? Elendil? I don't even know. Like, dude, the names are like so hard to pronounce on the characters because they say it in like a specific language. So we're butchering it. Apologize, guys. But they get rescued from, they pretty much get rescued. Also, probably should have said this in the beginning. If you guys haven't been seen the episode just of yet, this is going to be a lot of spoilers on this episode, so definitely when you guys get a chance, go watch that and then come back on the episode. That's always, that's how we're going to do it. So going back to that, like pretty much they got rescued from Captain Inuder. I don't know. Yeah, they got rescued from him pretty much, and they were just kind of confused on what was the reasoning behind on why he rescued them. So we don't really unfold that until they set out to sea going back home, which is, I forget the name of the city.
Okay. Slipped my mind as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the previous, I believe it was like the previous area that was at is it's like a village that she's from. But yeah, it seems like that's what they mainly was trying to aim for with that.
I know how to say it, like Numereno. I don't know. I'm really hard pronouncing it. I'm terrible at pronouncing names or like even words. So they'd arrive to this city that it just looks amazing at first. I mean, I love the scenery. I love the way the sun kind of sets, like hovers over the city. I think that's something to appreciate. Just everything looks really good, man. Even the CGI for the episode, I think was really up to par. You know what I mean? I think that was amazing. So when they set off to, set going into the city, I thought that was like, oh shit, like, at first you think like, have they been captured, or if have, a couple of questions start to arise, like, have they seen them before? Have they have they, had battles with them before, like this type of tribe that we've never seen before? So, and this city was never mentioned again. Like, going back, trying to revisit some of the old Lords of the Ring movies. I don't know any of these places, because again, too, like, the new thing that, this with this TV series that does is, like, at least they're telling us the name of the locations of where they're going, or like whatever's on the map. There's a map and they're telling you like what areas are which. In Lords of the Ring, we barely don't see that. I think in 3 they start doing that, but not in definitely not in 1, not in 2. I think somewhat in 2, but not as much in 3. You know what I mean? So they don't do that. So we don't know which areas are which. So it's like, at least with this one, with this TV series, at least they're giving us like ideas on whichever wherever they're taking place, like whichever scene is being taken place at. I think that's like we talked about in the last review. I think that was amazing.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, able to keep track of where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you thought about it, like, just coming into this episode?
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, this new area they're in. It's like it's all sunny. It's like that's like the main theme of it. And they like I guess like they're like sun worshippers in a way. Like I was kind of talking about in the last episode, it's like a lot of pagan themes. I'm starting to pick up on like a lot with the symbolism and everything around there. And yeah, it seems like they at first it's like they're kind of captured. They're not quite prisoners, those two, but they're like they're kind of getting escorted to like the queen and the king,
Yeah.
and just to observe what their whereabouts is, what they actually there for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of get in a situation because they're not too sure about those two quite of yet. And then also in the beginning, we kind of forgot to mention that with what's his name, Aaron
Aaron. I call him Aaron. I mean,
Aaron.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess we just call him Aaron. You know, the other elf guy. He he got kidnapped by the orcs, and yeah, we see where he's at now with the orcs in their
Well,
land.
the confusing part was that they did look like they were close resembling orcs, but we didn't know if that was actually orcs. But now, like, in this episode, after seeing them, like, them capturing, humans to kind of do, slavery work, and pretty much just kind of enslaving them to dig up, because I think the reason why they were doing that, because they were looking for the sword that Theo found, right? I think they're trying to hunt down that sword, because apparently that sword is actually Sauron's, right? Sauron's sword.
Oh yeah, I believe
Sauron,
so.
yeah.
And search for that shit.
Yeah, so that's why they've been trying to, not from what we've been getting the information from, one of the prisoners, is that they've been kind of going to each village and kind of just finding, like, areas to kind of start digging at, and that's what they've been doing for a long time, ever since they misplaced the sword. So it really makes you wonder, like, I know this is going to be like jumping from back to back from episodes, but it makes you think, like, well, how did they misplace the sword in that old house? Unless, they were already there, of course, but, it's like, what, did you dropped it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did you misplace the sword? Like, what's going on, bro?
Yeah. Plus, it was like broken, so it must have been a fight previously. Like, I wonder if that has to do with like that war that we later on found out with the other character that his whole village got wiped out by Sauron and everything.
Oh, you're talking
So
about Hellbrand, right?
yeah, yeah, Hellbrand. I wonder if that has to do with him, like that's how the sword broke during that war, or maybe it was like a different incident. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I mean, it was interesting to get to to get back into the city. I mean, well, not get back, but like they were brought to the city, and we was like, whoa, what the fuck? Um, I think what else happened touched up. You already touched up on pretty much with um I think you touched up with Aaron getting captured and actually enslaved. So um I think a lot had to unfold with Nori as well, like because with Nori and the stranger.
Yeah, because
Um,
they're like kind of on the move now. Like they're trying to travel somewhere. Um,
well, yeah, because I think they're the hobbits are always have been in high. That's actually how they stay alive for as long as they have. They're always moving around so that way they can be in safety, in safe range from any war taking place or any potential threat that comes near their village or
yeah,
their tribe. So that is a smart way to always keep moving.
true.
But with Nori, it was kind of difficult because again, like um, she's been just trying to figure out like how can she help the stranger. Um, it seems like in this episode we got a chance to really see him talk a little more, which was great. He seems like he's gathering up like more intelligence as faster than we expected, which is I think that's cool. At least like now we know that he can talk now. I think now he's starting to remember some things, just like when we seen him in the fire pit and he was just trying to um he was trying to read the page or something like that. There was something on the page that kind of, I guess, like that reminded him of something.
Oh yeah, because we kind of forgot to mention that too. Is that the character, the leader of the hobbits, Sadoc? I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He always carries around like this big book that has like all the star symbols in it, and he's able to like to travel based off that book of like predict the events that's about to happen. So it's kind of like a mystery globe in a way, like one of those I forget what it's called, but
Yeah.
yeah, that book is like able to predict based off the stars, and yeah, like you said, the stranger had one of the pages that was out of the book, and since he's familiar with like the stars and everything from where he came from, he's able to, I guess, that's like a clue of where he probably started or a sign of something that maybe that's leading somewhere he has to go.
Yeah.
I'm imagining.
Yeah, I think that was interesting because as from what we seen the stranger come out from the sky, I guess like something of that page kind of reminded him of somewhere out there. It's crazy. I don't know if like it's so hard to really like kind of talk about him in general because like, we say that he came from the sky, but like where? Like he didn't come from fucking space. So, you know what I mean? Like I don't I,
It's kind of alluding to it in a way because it's like based off the stars and the what's it the signals of it. I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of difficult to touch up on him a little bit to figure out like if you want to have theories that's a good theory, but for me, I don't know. I don't know if he came from the sky. I think he just shot out of a mountain or some shit. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what to really say about him, but that's what I'm saying. It's I feel like it's gonna be a drag to unravel, like to unfold like some of his background or like where he came from, what's going like what was his mission or what was his purpose. Um, I think it's gonna take some time, and I think they're not really worried about telling his story as of yet. I think like the show is just trying to focus in on just Galadriel, Aaron going through his situation, and and Nori trying to, just she's on the journey of figuring out the stranger, but I think that's going to take a very long time to unfold.
Yeah, they're gonna slowly unravel that. You see,
Yeah.
travel.
Um so I mean, let's see what else we kind of left off at. I feel like there's so much to talk about on this episode that we haven't talked. We're skipping stuff, but um I feel like for the most part it was I loved it. It was very action packed for sure. Um, I think like this has been the most action packed episode yet.
Yeah,
Um, we got a little more understanding of Galat, like these, not only just not just the introduction of the new city, but I think a little more of, not only just Galadriel, but I think like even some new characters that we've never seen, like you said, a Captain, I don't want to pronounce his name again. And the Queen, what was her name again?
Queen Regrant. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it. We're bursting the shit out of these names.
Yeah, because listen, man, there's this terrible with names. Look, if you come on the show, definitely we apologize. uh,
Razan, the king. Yeah,
yeah. So and it was interesting when they got to that city and they had to formally introduce. Well, they didn't. Well, they had to formally introduce themselves because they were forced to. So after being brought to the city of Numeral, I think that's how you say it.
yeah. Kingdom of Numeral.
Yeah, once they got brought to the Kingdom of Numeral, they had to formally introduce themselves, and it kind of seemed like when they found out that she was an elf, I guess like, she felt like that they owed her, her people something for having that land. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that was such a horrible introduction. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, all right, put down your pride for a second. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in their turf pretty much, and you have everybody. They have a whole army behind their back, and it's like, you know, it's. I'm not saying get down and lick the boot, but you know what I mean. Like at least show respect. At least like especially them they're just trying to figure out who you guys are, because it was never part of the plan to bring you guys to this kingdom. It was, the captain, what's his face? He had he had to, been brought, like he brought them there random, because I guess like as he said in the episode, um that he was I guess that she reminded him of his kids when they were young, because I think that's what he told her.
Oh right, yeah. He said one of his kids is like stubborn.
Yeah, so I think like just looking at Galadriel, I guess like when she was unconscious, because when he brought her on board, she was unconscious. Um, I guess like that kind of like kind of reminded him of his kids and stuff. So I guess he couldn't let them die like that. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah, he took it upon himself to let him on board.
yeah,
To
it was just, it was that's what I'm saying. It was interesting to see that, when I meant by that her people, for elves, like for the queen of that city, um, she felt like that, that was kind of like a disrespectful like way of kind of saying going about it, because at the same time it was about them not wanting the elves on their land anymore or anything like that. I guess like they do have ancient history that they dislike each other. So
right.
it hasn't been an elf on their land for some time now.
Yeah.
So that's why it was, I guess like it was really surprising to her, and it was a lot to take in, especially so I wasn't too fond of the character, because like the way that she was just being aggressive with Galadriel was kind of like, okay, all right, you know what I'm saying?
She just had a nasty
Yeah, like
attitude.
there was no under like trying to be compensative of the situation. There was just like, she's an elf, kill her or or get her out of my city. You know what I'm saying? Like there's two options.
Yeah, to the extent of where she offered a sword to one of the guards to go try to assassinate her. To that point, it's like, bro, what the fuck? And yeah, she was just snobby and just like uptight about everything. Them coming there, and whatnot. And she's actually a character from the book. I didn't even know that. That's cool that they still are like putting like characters from the original story into there as well.
Oh, she's from the book. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. She plays a role in the Tolkien lore. You know, that's cool at least.
Was she ever in the movies? I don't think so.
No, I don't think. I think this
Yeah.
may be her first appearance. Yeah, as far
Okay.
as that.
All right. I mean, how'd you feel about the character?
Her particularly. Yeah,
Just her, Captain. You know, everybody knew in this episode that was first time seeing on the screen.
oh yeah, yeah. I thought they were. I mean, they came to warm up to them after a while, but Ellendale. Sorry, the guy that rescued him and
We're never
everything.
gonna get that name right.
Right. The dad. Yeah, he was like the coolest one out of all of them from what I see so far. Like he has an interesting story. I want to see more about him because I have a feeling he had something to do with like the old war and everything. Because yeah, like just going based off his what he was saying and everything. He was fighting in the Saran in combat for one ring that marked the end of the Second Age. So, uh, so like yeah, like he fought in like a previous war alongside of them. So that's interesting. Like had something to do with the rings. He had something to do with along that line, I guess. And at Farazan was the king, right? So it's interesting because his cousin plays a role in her life after what's it? Let me see. What are the series? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, Farazan. He's like his he plays like in the afterlife of a previous kings of his lore. So that I found that interesting too. That a lot of these people like have in line with like the war about Ariz what's his name? Arizon?
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting that it all ties into that, like the past wars and everything. Yeah, I found like those two characters particularly interesting because of their past. Or is that? And let's see. Yeah, and from there, yeah, and then it showed. Let me see. Oh yeah, I think it went back to the hobbits after that part. Like after it showed within that village they was in with Sadok and the hobbits.
Yeah,
So
it was a lot, man. You know, it was a lot to really intercept. Um, I think that just seeing Hellbrand, that was again this mysterious character that we never seen before. And the lore of Lords of the Ring. I've never heard of his tribe. I don't. They're from the Southlands or something like that. So we never got a chance to really see like who is this people, what village he comes from, what type of character, like what type of character was he gonna be. As soon as we got a chance to really get to know him, um, he definitely showed a lot in this episode because he started to become more, I guess, not violent, but he was actually defending himself against the people because the people of this city was not too kind. I mean, again, there hasn't been a lot of outsiders of this city for, I'm guessing, centuries or years or something like that. It's been a long time for anybody to come to see anybody come into the city. So, they weren't too kind to any outsiders. So, it was really hard for Hellbrand to try to establish. It seemed like he took some interest in um the blacksmith, but the blacksmith, because I guess like he likes to make armor. He has some sort of passion behind it, seems like. um it seems
yeah,
like he wanted to, yeah, it seemed like he wanted to kind of do more with that. And again, there's a lot of trust issues between anybody that's outside, and especially that they don't have a lot of comfortability with the elves. They just have like some sort of bad history with them, um, or what they perceive. You know what I mean? Because they'll all they can do is say they weren't technically there. They just hear stories of like what it was like back then. So for them, it was kind of hard it was hard to see him like try to he's trying to establish some sort of life there until the meantime until they get out. I think that's what it was. They said to the queen to kind of just spend one night or something like that. I think it was one day.
Oh, right.
And clearly, anybody who was around, I mean, and like the people that he was around were just trying to like fight him or anything like that because he got smart with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, and then they end up fighting, which was, that's why I'm saying I thought we got a chance to really see what he's capable of. I thought that, that was crazy to see. I didn't think he knew all that.
Oh, yeah.
You
At
know what I
least he
mean?
could protect himself. And it showed that he was in that past war and everything.
Yeah, but the way he did it was like he had to be like some sort of high ranking like I wouldn't say a knight or anything like that, but some sort of like, you know, like Aaron a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like some sort of officer or of some sort. You know what I mean? I didn't know like if he knew like he probably knew how to defend himself, but not like how the way we seen him fight those guys. That was like, he knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They tried to gang up on him, but it was they couldn't stand a chance against him. Like,
Nah, man, that was the most that we've ever seen like in the show. Like he broke his wrist. That was crazy.
yeah, that's pretty brutal. Slammed the other guy's head against the wall too.
Yeah, and then that's how he ended up getting tossed up in jail. But
Yeah.
what was really interesting in this episode for sure, we got a chance to see Galadriel and the captain go to their it's like a library or some sort of scrolls, which was to me, I've never even seen what a real scroll looks like in real life, and I would love to because I think they're really unique and cool as hell. It was really interesting. Like it was really cool to see like a whole actual like library filled with them. You know what I mean? It just seems like ancient history that that was written for their culture. So I thought that was cool.
It's like a lot of tells.
Yeah, like that to me, that was the real cool part, seeing that. What we discovered was that they got a really good look into what Sauron's symbol resembles, right? And when you pay close attention, I'm guessing Galadriel really figured it out when she put the piece that was taken out of the scroll. It looked at like really old like fabric, which was cool. She kind of matched, put two and two together and figured it out as far as that it was the Southlands, if I'm not mistaken, is what he is plotting to do with that. Something is involving his plan in the Southlands. So, that to me, that was like really cool. As I said already in the previous review or the one before that, it was this guy's a mastermind. That's what I'm saying. Like even when it leads to his death, he's still, which that's what happened. He died when the very first Lords of the Ring, when you see that he died by that one I think it was a human, wasn't even an elf. He died from that, and even within his death, he still was doing his plans were still he was trying to come back, which I think he ended up trying to come back in 3. He never really did though. It was like a shadow or some shit. But his plans, but he's just had other people taking over his plans. He's like some sort of dictator or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's always 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's always like 10 steps ahead, and it's nice to see that somebody is on his trail, is what I'm saying. Because 9 times out of 10, usually the fight comes to them and they have to actually deal with it. No one really tried to unfold some of his patterns, at least from not the movies and the books, from what I've seen. So it's cool that Galadriel was catching on to his shit. And that's why she's like, yo, you guys got to start believing in me because I told you like he was still out there. You know what I'm saying?
She's
Um,
honest.
so that's to me, this is a big piece. And this is why I said before, I said, I don't think that, just by seeing this little bit of evidence of what his plan is going to be, I don't think it's going to be enough of to unfold some of all this like all this planning or everything that he's got going on. I feel like it's not going to be covered in this season. There's definitely going to be a second season of this. I don't know if anybody's already aware of that or any online sources that everybody already's been touched on. They're like, yo, this series is probably going to get like 5 seasons or something. I don't know. Definitely, but it's definitely going to get another one because there's no way that they're going to fit enough like for 10 episodes. I think there's listed, I think, for this season.
Right.
So
Yeah. Definitely probably have one in plan after this for sure.
yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah.
Um, So that was cool for me to really take in. How about you?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's interesting because every time she finds when she's on his trail, she always finds that one symbol, and it's like cool to see that that's like the marking. It's kind of like a treasure map where she has to find each of the marks. So where he was last at on his trail. So it's good. It's gonna be cool to see when they finally meet up and that battle on announces. I mean when they go with the battle and everything, they finally fight. But yeah, it's yeah, and then they had the scene where she rode off on the horse with the
Oh,
guy in
that
the red.
scene was, dude. That scene was badass. I mean, I like the slow motion effect that was actually in the. You could see that you could really capture like the happiness that she was like riding the horses. It was really nice to see that she was
Yeah,
smiling. She was smiling so hard. It's like when you stick your head out the window. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like a little kid. I'm like, damn, that's the happiest I ever seen her. She was happy as shit, man. Yeah, they was out on the beach. That was cool. And then yeah, that's when she found him in the prison and everything. Uh, made that deal with him.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what we kind of got. Oh yeah, before that we kind of got like an insight of with Halbrand that yeah his like we were saying before that his village got destroyed by Sauron and yeah and Galadriel she she's the one she said she's the one that started the war with one of them, so it's like they get to meet in the middle and like both she said she wants to get revenge for their bloodline, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a cool way of them uniting, and that's yeah, that's where it ends up with them, and they're probably gonna go on an adventure on the next episode and lead off from there. So I
Yeah,
thought
man.
that's cool.
Um, and I mean, we can't forget about the. Let me see. What else can we talk about? I think for because I think mostly we just covered up with the hobbits. We didn't really see Theo and his mom in this episode. I think they're still traveling somewhere. They didn't even say, I don't even think they said where they were headed off to. Um but I think the most interesting part with this episode was that the plan with Sauron, and then with seeing like the orcs really, they captured like the humans, and you seen Aaron kind of figuring out like their weakness. I don't really remember too much of the light. I don't know if that was like ever a thing um in any of the movies. uh I think they never did like, I don't think they ever did like the light, because I remember Gandalf the White, if I'm not mistaken, when he was like in that bright like his whole suit was light. And I remember in part 3 he did like this really bright light thing, and they didn't like it. So I think they always did not like light, which makes sense because um usually their area, I don't know what it's really called, but they're usually in some sort of really dark pits of the darkest parts of Middle Earth.
Oh right,
So
yeah.
Mordor,
It's
right? I think that's what it is. Mordor. Yeah.
sure.
It's usually covered by the most darkest places. So they really don't. It just seems like they don't really like the light too much.
Yeah, because they're always like in like the past movies and with the orcs, they're always like mining in those big pits that go underground, and you'll see them working in those pits and everything. So it's like they always, like you
Yeah.
said, like in a dark area. Seems. But yeah, like these ones particularly, like they really don't like the sun because the way they was reacting, it's like they was moles because they've been underground so long or in the dark. It's like, yeah, that's like their weakness.
Yeah. It's been some time, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. And
Um. Oh, and that's what we did mention too. Like, I know we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. This is going to be a short one, but you know, what was interesting too was that like we said on the what was it the previous episode, we said that it didn't seem like that was an orc that came out from the floor when Theo was kind of when he first interacted with um one of the creature things. Uh, the thing that we kind of discovered was we was like what was interesting to me was that these are orcs were kind of way before the time of the orcs back in Lords of the Ring, because I think the light they did not like the light, but it wasn't like how the ones are in the show where they cannot be in the sunlight at all. I think the orcs that you see in the movies, they were daywalkers. They can actually walk in the light. But I think they were created differently for that reason. That's why, yeah, because I remember, I think in part 1 or 2, and I don't remember which one specifically, it's been some time, but I remember that when they were creating them, they stated that they will be able to walk in daytime. So
mm,
that's what the difference was, that they always could not walk in the daytime, but they started creating some that can.
right,
So
yeah,
that was cool. Um, so I
yeah.
mean, just to see like how the way they were. I'm guessing, what was this, like 1,000 years before the the regular ones? I don't remember.
I believe for the time gap,
It
but
is a big gap though. I mean, we know Galadriel and who else is from the movies.
oh
That's
yeah,
it, right?
yeah, yeah. From this series, I believe.
And everybody keeps speculating that if the stranger is comparison to Gandalf, I mean, I don't know if that is true or not. We don't even know if he is a wizard. We don't know what he is. So we're still trying to figure that out, and I think it's going to take some time to figure that out. Um, so
That's how.
it was nice to it was nice to see Aaron kind of strategize himself, like just really figure out how was he going to escape that the orcs captured him.
Right.
um he devised a plan, which obviously he's seen that the one of the orcs kind of was hurting from the sunlight. So when he saw that, he was like, oh yeah, now I got a plan. So then he figured out a plan. And then for me, I thought that was the greatest, bro. Like that was the way that kick was that he did towards the orc. Yo, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, that was a sick fight sequence. Like the way he plotted that all out with the chains and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the weird thing was I never seen that hyena before, bro. That shit was ugly as shit.
yeah, definitely was.
Yeah, to me, that looked like a Crash Bandicoot villain. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just,
Stuff like the live action Lion King movie or something.
yeah, like, bruh, like that. To me, that thing was weird. Like, I thought I was kind of expecting like the giant, like, I don't know, like, because in part 3 we seen some, or even 2, we seen some interesting fucking giant trolls, right? Like giant ones that they put like these type of bridge things on top of their backs and shit. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they're it's crazy. Like I was expecting that dog thing. It's just, I don't know. The CGI wasn't bad, but to me it was it was just like it looked funny as hell. It was cross-eyed. You know what I'm
yeah, that shit is
saying?
ugly. Look, it's like a street dog or something.
Yeah, like I was like, what the hell is that? So when
It was eating everybody too. It's
no, I don't believe that. Like those two first people, they just kind of threw themselves at her.
yeah, especially that one lady. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
like she like it was pretty much like, all right, I got to be the one to die to show the audience that this thing actually can hurt people or some shit, you know?
right, pretty much.
Yeah, like I was like, what the fuck?
It's like y'all literally running towards the thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it was nice to see that he actually strategized his plan, and he almost got out of there successfully. But
Oh, you know what? It's a important part too. I don't know if you was paying attention, but like when they was telling them to pull out the tree, because that's what they were trying to get them to do, like
mhm.
tear down trees. He was kind of affected by that, and that's another thing I could see. Like his clan was like they worship like trees and everything, but for him particularly,
I was
A
trying to figure out what is the truth. Like, what is like? Is there like? I know the trees. Not every tree has become alive. You know what I mean? I know we've seen two, and you can see the tree people and shit, but they're not. I don't think not every tree can come alive. So I just really want to know, like, what is their obsession? Like, I wouldn't say obsession, but their worship towards the trees. You know what I
right.
mean? Like, I want to figure that out.
Yeah, like with Aaron particularly, as you can see with his armor, like I was describing, like it seems like he comes from a place where they really appreciate the life of a tree and everything. So I
Yeah.
wonder how that's going to tie in later, just to
Mm.
see his background in his village. But
So
yeah,
yeah, to me, that I think, yeah, the tree does play like a big role for them. They just didn't want to tear it down. But he had no choice because I mean, he was kind of forced to do it. But I don't think he finished chopping it down. It was like halfway through, right, or something that they didn't chop it down.
oh yeah, yeah, because one of the orcs slid open one of the slaves that they captured, and he killed him, and that's when Aaron just took the initiative and tried to chop it
That was
down.
fuck.
But
That
then,
was low, man. And then you gonna do that corny shit when he was drinking too. I was like, damn, bro. That to me, that was like you're pretty much a bitch. You know what I mean? Like it was just like you couldn't even wait to like fight him man to man. Know what I mean?
yeah, you knew it was something up when they gave him the whole
I thought it
water.
was poison water. I thought that's what it was. Like when they gave it to him, I was like, "Yo, don't drink from that shit, bro." I would have been like, "Nah, I'm good," because you don't know what they could have added in that shit.
Right, because at first they put it inside their hand. I thought they was gonna make them belittle them
I
and
would have
make
looked at him. I was like, "That don't mean shit."
them
You know what I
right.
mean? I would have said, "That don't mean shit." I want to see you drink that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
See,
and then for me personally, I'll be like, "I'm not drinking out of that because you just put your lips on there."
right. That's what I was looking at too when they was drinking out of
I
it.
mean, listen, man. It's. Look, if you was in that situation, you haven't drunk for like days. I mean, times is rough. I get it.
Yeah, you got no other choice.
No, you got a choice, especially if you went that long. I'll be like, I can go another day. You
And
know?
they on sun for that long. It's like shit. Who knows how long they was out there working?
Yeah. But it
But
was it was cool to see some resistance go back, especially like they was like, I'm not, it sucked that Aaron. It took Aaron to actually be the one to like figure that out. Like, you guys could have been did this. You know what I mean? It didn't take Aaron to like him to get there and like be like, you guys never figured this shit out. Like, I don't know.
yeah, who knows how long those other people have been enslaved for? Like, damn.
Yeah, and yeah, I think what else would do we see?
Oh yeah, one of the when Aaron finally was trying to get up the hill, that's when one of the guy that was helping him
I thought
out,
that was
he
bullshit.
shot with the arrows, and then yeah,
I
damn,
thought that was bullshit. I thought he was gonna survive, man.
yeah. Fortunately, he got shot down.
Yeah, like they were gonna do the same thing to Aaron if he would have climbed out of that hole.
Yeah, but it looks like he got captured again, and they put a sword up to his neck, and they took him somewhere.
Yeah, man. But that end, yo, man, like did it not say, guys, ladies and gentlemen? I told you that we finally are going to see what the guy behind the mask looks like. I think that's, to me, that was like the biggest. I sat up from my bed. I thought it was the most craziest part in all of Lords of the Ring, in my opinion, because for me, it's not even about being so fixated on the main antagonist. It's just you want to know the reasoning behind his methods on like why is he doing these things, you know? Because obviously he is the successor. Like I think the successor from Morgoth, right? I think the other threat that they had before. So he took the role, but the question is why, and why do you feel like you want to? You know, obviously the evil will never sleep. I get that, and you just want to be able to rule all of the realm, but is there an end game? Like that's the reasoning why. There must be a reason why. Is that you don't have you? He must have went through some childhood shit, like some trauma growing up. Something must have happened. So that's why it's going to be interesting to see his face. But I would like to not only see the man behind the mask, I want to know the man behind the mask as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But at
Yeah.
least we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Finally get to see the guy that's been doing all this damage.
So I thought that was very important to bring up. Very important to finally get our answers, our questions answered, because you know I think as anybody is a fan of this series, I'm sure that there's been plenty of people out there that's been trying to figure out more information about Sauron and why, you know what I mean, and why he's doing the things that he's doing. So, and why does he feel like his power should overrule everything else? You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important. And how the orcs look up to him. You know, that's what I'm saying. The questions are just endless for me for that guy, man, because it's crazy. And it's good to see. I've never knew that he goes by his second name. What is it called? Ajar, something like that.
Right. Jar. Shit. Yeah. See his origin story unfold. It's gonna be a sight to see.
That's what
Especially
that's why. And you know, for me, wondering like the sword that Theo took, I wonder what is it that he needs from that sword. You know what I mean? Like, because for me, we obviously know that the sword has a lot to do with blood, and it forms out of blood. But you know, what does the significance of the sword hold for him? You know what I mean? Like that's the question.
yeah. Especially
Um,
what Galadriel said with the bloodline. I wonder if that's the reason why the sword forms from blood. It's like it has something to do with bloodline, particularly that activates it. I'm wondering.
I'm not trying to like. I'm just speculating here, man. I just feel like, in my opinion, on how this is all going to lead up. I feel like a lot of people is going to go through a lot of shit. Like, I mean, like we might see some characters die. Because in my opinion, if you want to speculate, I mean, I don't want to say too much because again, these future episodes, we don't know where it's gonna go. But if I had to say my speculations on like where the series might go, I think that it would be interesting to see um him actually see how he created that ring. I think that's gonna play a big factor in the show.
Uh,
Um yeah, that to me, that's gonna be very important to really accept, especially like if I'm a fan of the series, so that would be cool to see. Um and then to see more about his character. You know what I mean? So I think that's very important. Um, so I think that's to me that's just a lot of information to really take in, and um, I want to see more from him for sure. I'm accepting everybody else into the mix for sure. Like as far as like their characters, their development, where they come from, you know, them setting off to their journeys, and you know we're seeing like how they're kind of growing from every single situation that's hitting them. But for him, he's like my main focus. and it was nice to see that he was actually brought into the, this early on too. I didn't even think it was going to be this early. I thought he was going to show up on like that last episode of this season, and then they were going to leave it off to like, because what a way to wrap up, right? Like, and then, you know what I mean? It would have waited until like the season 2 finale, like the season 2 introduction of that season. You know what I mean? I thought that he would have came out like in the season finale or something.
Yeah, I guess they got something with Herman and Galadriel meeting up, I guess sometime in the season. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting when that plays out.
Oh yeah, man. That's gonna be like God of War 3. Like, him and Zeus. He just got some sort of vendetta for him.
Yeah, they're gonna finally bump heads. It's like,
so I think we covered everything on this episode. I mean, I don't know if I feel like we went all over the place. Sorry about that, guys, if we didn't go in a straight line. Kind of how we do things here at Couch Crunch. But, if you feel like we didn't mention anything, you're more than welcome to leave a comment in the description, and we'll make sure going forward that we can use some tips in there as well if you guys are willing to kind of share with us your thoughts. But I think, like so far, man, I think the season's going well. I hope you guys are enjoying every episode that's been coming out, and I'm looking forward to episode 4, because we will be going over the entire series, and as the episodes come out, each Friday. So definitely keep tuning in, and we hope you guys are enjoying all the content.
Yeah, guys, have a good one. Be safe out there, and see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, take care. Peace.
Peace.